I kept my secret $50,000 win from my boyfriend for years. I remember the exact moment my life shifted. Not because of something dramatic. No car crash. No proposal. No tragedy. It was an email. A subject line that read, "Congratulations, you've won." At first, I thought it was spam. But when I clicked, my heart skipped. I had actually won. $50,000. I sat frozen at the kitchen table, rereading the message 10 times. Was this real? I checked the website. The same giveaway I'd entered a month ago on a lunch break, just for fun. And now, it was real. I should have screamed with joy. But instead, I looked over at Ryan. He was napping on the couch, TV still playing, half a pizza box balanced on his chest. My heart sank. Ryan was the kind of boyfriend everyone liked at first. Charming, full of ideas, always dreaming big. But dreams didn't pay rent. He was behind on his part again. Said he'd make it up next month. He always said that. I stared at him and back at the email. $50,000. A miracle, really. But suddenly, I felt scared. Because I knew. If I told him, it wouldn't stay mine. Not for long. He'd ask for just a bit. Then more. Then a business idea. And I'd be left with nothing but regret. So, I did something I never imagined I would. I closed my laptop and said nothing. I went to the bedroom, locked the door, and started planning. A new bank account. A way to deposit without raising flags. A secret. I thought that moment would feel like a miracle. Instead, it felt like I had just lit a fuse. Ryan wasn't a bad person. That's what I kept telling myself. He had a big heart. Always full of energy. Always chasing something. But he also had no sense of limits. One week it was crypto. The next it was dropshipping. Then day trading. He burned through every idea with the same blind hope. And every time it failed, he came back to me. I wasn't just his girlfriend. I was his safety net. The one who covered rent when he was short. The one who let him borrow my card just for gas. He always promised to pay me back. Sometimes he even tried. But something always got in the way. And I was always left picking up the pieces. That's why I didn't tell him. It wasn't about greed. It was about survival. I'd worked hard for everything I had. I couldn't let this miracle disappear in another one of his fantasies. I wanted something of my own, for once. I told myself it was temporary, that maybe I'd share it one day, when things were stable, when I could trust him not to blow it all on a dream that would never work. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the secret grew heavier. Every time Ryan talked about our future, my stomach twisted. He had plans. Kids, a house, a business we'd run together. I smiled and nodded, but in my mind, all I could see was that hidden bank account, the one I'd never told him about. I hated lying, but I couldn't risk it. Not with him. He was too impulsive, too scattered. He would have seen that money as his golden ticket. I knew him. He'd already be on the phone with a buddy talking about a genius partnership, and I'd be watching our future go up in smoke. So I said nothing. I built a quiet wall between us, and every time he held me close, I felt the distance growing. He didn't know it, but the woman he loved was already slipping away. One secret deposit at a time. I didn't touch the money all at once. I took out small amounts, just enough to stay under the radar. I paid off my student loans first. That alone made me sleep better at night. Then I fixed my car's brakes. Nothing flashy. Just safety. Quiet peace. Next, I opened a savings account under my name only. Something Ryan didn't know about. I felt like a criminal just walking into the bank. My hands were shaking when I signed the forms. But I smiled. It felt like freedom. I started giving a little to my sister. She was a single mom, struggling with bills. I never told her where it came from. Just sent a prepaid card in the mail with no return address. Watching her cry from relief on a video call almost broke me. I couldn't help everyone, but I could help someone. Ryan began noticing small changes. "You've been calmer lately," he said one night. "Less stressed." I shrugged. "Just managing better." He smiled and kissed my forehead. "I'm proud of you." I nearly choked on the guilt. He thought I was some kind of budgeting wizard. Truth was, I was just no longer drowning. That money hadn't made me rich. It had made me breathe. For the first time in years, I wasn't counting coins before payday. He once joked, "Maybe you should handle both our finances." I laughed too hard. If only he knew. I already was. I just wasn't telling him the whole story. I had a 5-year plan. Quiet, careful, mine. But every win felt like a lie. Every good thing I did was wrapped in silence. And I started to wonder if I could keep this up forever. Because the secret wasn't just in my bank account anymore. It was in every word I said, every smile, every moment we shared. And it was growing. It happened on a Thursday. Rain was pouring outside. Ryan came home soaked and out of breath. I thought something was wrong, but then he got down on one knee. No speech, no grand gesture, just a trembling hand holding a tiny velvet box. Inside was a small ring, modest, scratched, but real. "I sold my watch," he said. "I wanted to do this right." My heart cracked open. Not from joy, from guilt. I said yes. I cried and said yes. He hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. And all I could think was, he had no idea. He had no idea the woman in his arms was holding a secret that could shatter everything. That night, he talked about wedding plans, about saving for a honeymoon, about starting a business together someday. "We'll combine everything," he said. "No more separation. We're a team now." I nodded. I smiled. I died a little inside. He didn't know I had an entire account he'd never seen, thousands he'd never touched, plans he wasn't part of. And it wasn't just the money anymore. It was what it meant. I hadn't trusted him. Not enough to share my miracle. Not enough to let him in. He noticed something. "You okay?" he asked. "You've gone quiet." I forced a laugh. Just overwhelmed. In a good way. He kissed my hand and called me his future wife. I smiled, but my chest was burning. I went to the bathroom and stared at myself in the mirror. I saw a liar in a white towel. A woman who had everything she thought she wanted. And a secret she couldn't bury much longer. I thought about telling him. Right then. Just blurting it out. But then I imagined his face. The confusion. The hurt. The betrayal. And I stayed quiet. Again. We went to bed that night with his arm wrapped around me. He fell asleep smiling. I stared at the ceiling. I was planning a wedding and carrying a lie big enough to break it all. It happened 3 weeks after the engagement. We were cleaning out the junk drawer. Stacks of old mail, expired coupons, paper clips. I didn't even notice the folded paper fall to the floor. But Ryan did. "What's this?" he asked. I turned around and froze. It was a bank statement. From my hidden account. I had no idea how it ended up there. I thought I'd shredded all of them. My hands went cold. My mouth dried up. "It's nothing," I said too quickly. He raised an eyebrow. "Doesn't look like nothing." "Emma, this balance, where is this from?" I stammered. "It's old. Just savings. Before we met." He kept staring. "Emma, it says deposit dates from last year." While we were living together. There was no escaping it. I sat down. My knees were shaking. "I didn't want to lie," I began. "Then why did you?" He snapped. His voice wasn't loud. It was worse than that. It was quiet, disappointed, hurt. So I told him everything. The giveaway, the secret account, the decisions I made. I watched the color drain from his face. He didn't interrupt, just listened. Then he asked one question. Why didn't you trust me? I couldn't answer. Not really. Because the truth was too messy. I didn't trust his judgment. I didn't trust his dreams. I didn't trust that he'd leave anything for me. I was scared, I said. I wanted something that was mine. He stood up and walked out. No yelling. No door slamming. Just silence. The kind that echoes. He didn't come home that night. I sat on the couch with the ring still on my finger and a pit in my stomach. I had protected myself, but I had broken us. Ryan came back 3 days later. No bags, no shouting, just tired eyes. He sat on the edge of the bed and said, I needed space. I nodded. There was nothing else to say. He looked down at my hand. The ring was still there. He didn't ask for it back. He didn't ask about the money. He just said, I don't know if I can marry someone who doesn't trust me. And I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I just cried. Because he was right. I had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. We didn't break up right away. We tried to fix it. Therapy. Long talks. Promises. But the silence between us never really left. Something had cracked. And it wouldn't heal the same. 6 months later, we called off the engagement. He moved out. I stayed in the apartment. The bank account was still mine. But it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like a tombstone. I hadn't just kept a secret. I had buried something beautiful under it. Looking back, I still believe I made the right choice with the money. I used it wisely. I gave some. I saved most. But I made the wrong choice in silence. The lie didn't protect me. It isolated me. I wish I had trusted him enough to tell the truth, or trusted myself enough to handle whatever came next. Because secrets have a cost. Not just in what they hide, but in what they steal. Love, trust, future. If I could go back, I'd still take the money. But this time, I'd take the risk of honesty too. I lost a man who loved me, because I was too afraid to let him in. And now I live with both the security I wanted and the emptiness I never expected. So here's my question to you. If you were me, would you have told him? Or would you have kept the secret too?